Hello everyone. Today I thought of sharing with you all an exercise that I used to practice when I was going through in my spiritual journey. And most of the people who are watching my channel are spiritual seekers. And these people are quite sensitive. And that another one word for them is empaths. They are quite sensitive to the energies around them. So for me, I also quite like sensitive to the energies around me. So therefore, I just did this exercise, which really helped me to recognize how my surrounding really affect my energy. So, okay. So what is this exercise is about? You can call this exercise energy audit because we do all the audits for our finance or anything else in our life, but we don't really look at our energy body. Just like we do so many things like to our body, like the physical body, we do workout, we have showers to keep it clean, but what do we really do about our energy body? How does we take care of our energy body? How do we cleanse our energy body? And these things I would tell, like I would share in the future videos. But in this video, I would like you to recognize how does your surrounding, people, places, and all these things affect your energy body. Okay. So in this case, like first we are going to look at like who are the people, or like what are the places that really energize you or elevate your energy levels. That is the first part of the exercise. What you're going to look at is you're going to look at who are the people or what are the places that really elevate your energy levels. Meaning, who are the people or what are the places which make you feel quite energized. Sometimes that could be even an activity. So yeah, I thought of sharing with you all like my list so that you will get an understanding. Like I have written down the first thing as meditation. I remember each time I sat for the meditation, I felt so elevated with my energy. I felt energized. One thing was I was really through the meditation, I was also staying with my emotional body. Like I was staying with my emotions. Sometimes this was supported me to release the emotions that was repressed. And meditation was an activity that quite helped me in my journey to elevate my energy levels. See, like, what are the activities that in your life really makes you feel energized. And the second thing I have written down is workout. Each time I do a real workout, like I feel quite energized. And this is not just true for me. And I believe for many people, each time they do a real workout, sometimes I even share this for the people who are in depression to go and do a proper workout and release the energies that is stuck in their bodies. And so workout also I found that really elevate my energy levels. So the third one was like what really elevates my energy level is like deep conversations with like-minded people. And this also like really energized me because like I find that the quality time that I share and at the same time the connection I build through not some surface level conversation, but through a deep conversations really made me feel elevated and at the same time felt quite energized in me. Like for example, conversations around spirituality and not even about spirituality, conversations which is more honest and vulnerable conversations, not out of very superficiality. It's going beyond that and having the more honest and authentic conversations. Also, I found that quite energizing me. And the fourth one I found in my list is spending time in the nature. Like, I feel like I am kind of a sponge which absorbs energy around me. And when I'm in the nature, the same is true. Like, I literally like felt so alive each time I was in the surrounded with so many trees, like in the nature, because I'm absorbing the energies around, and especially that is very natural place. So if it's a very like a forest or a place like that, really made me feel quite energized. So that is a place actually. And then the fifth one is like each time I go out and eat something quite healthy, I felt very energized. I felt alive. Sometimes you might have seen that whenever you drink some fruit juice or you have some proper healthy meal, which is, even though it's a lot of, could be a lot of things there, but still you feel quite light after eating something healthy. You feel alive, you feel very much energized. So that is one more thing. And next one is every morning I practice gratitude list. So this is also something which really elevate my energy levels. And this I started many years back. And my coach asked me to do this, and ever since I was doing that, and that was, I mean, even someone who is doing like law of attraction work is definitely, I believe, they supposed to do this whole gratitude list. So this gratitude list completely changed my life, and to like, because I've seen that I like mostly used to see what is going wrong in my life, but then this gratitude list really made me conditioned to see what's really going good in my life. So this also one exercise that really energized me. And some days I remember when I was writing the gratitude list, like I connect with my emotions behind it, and I feel so like grateful that I'm in tears. So this is one more activity that I do, which really makes me feel alive. And then the next one is that when I hang out with people who accept as who I am without judgment. I mean, I'm not saying that this is very common thing to have in life, like, but then there could be few individuals that who truly let you be who you are and accept you as who you are. And that is one more factor I found that I felt energized. Each time I spend time with such people, I felt very much energized, and like I look forward to being around such people, because I felt like if you can find someone who can accept you as who you are, you can really heal your life. I am here because I had few individuals who truly accepted me as who I am, and that really helped me to heal myself. And sometimes we find like we struggle to love ourselves, but when we have at least some few individuals from external where they can accept us as who I am, who we are, that really helps us to like get the neck of it to start loving ourselves and accept ourselves. So like hanging out with people who accept as who you are would be really, really healing for you. And that is one more thing really helped me to feel like I felt quite nice to be around such people. So that's one thing. And one more thing, I have a personality needs around novelty. So each time I talk with a stranger also makes me feel quite alive and like, how do you say that, alive, and I felt quite energized. So my work, I do coaching, like I do spiritual coaching. So like mostly I get to meet very much strangers and people who like come and have sessions with me are people around the world and they are strangers to me. And then I find it quite thrilling and it really makes me feel alive to talk with people, completely new people. For example, I believe when I was talking with one girl from Africa, that was very much a very new experience for me because like I haven't got very many chances to interact with people around Africa, so that was a quite new experience for me, and I really enjoy talking with strangers. And so yeah. And next thing is like when I was at my home, like we had a well right behind our home, and this well is like a very natural well, and then it like I remember each time I went and had a shower from that, I felt so energized. The water was so different than the water I got in my bathroom shower. So that is one more factor that I found like very different. It's like immediately you can recognize the difference, and even for few like for the whole entire day, I feel very different when each time I have a shower from like that well, actually. And I feel like it was like a proper cleanse to my energy body. So, yeah. And then the next thing is I felt quite elevated by watching comedy movies. Like that really makes me so light and happy and laughing. And if I could choose a movie, I mostly choose movie comedy. And this really lights me up. And so that is one more activity. And the next thing is, I have a thing that like each time I go and visit to another new country, like I want to visit the theme park in that particular country. Like, let's say it's Japan, I want to go to the Disney World. And if it's New Zealand and like Rainbow Sand, like that's another theme park in New Zealand. So wherever I have a thing that I really, really love to go to a theme park because I find that the energy in that theme park is very happy, very joyful, and so I immediately really feel that energy around me, and that really elevates me and energizes me. So where, wherever I travel, I always go to a theme park that I could spend time with. I really because I find that people when people come to a theme park, they are quite happy and joyful. They are enjoying, they're excited, they want to do this whole thrilling adventure. So I really like that energy. There was a time that I was thinking when I was like a teenager, I should work in a theme park because I really love energy around the theme park. So yeah. And the next thing is like each time I do some healing work on myself, and I feel so, so energized. Like because this healing work, I find it's like magic, it just completely transform your life, not just the gradual improvement. It's just healing work, really. Like I think there are, like, for me in my life, there were two things which was really important. One was truth seeking, and the other one was healing myself. And those were the two main things that I really prioritize in my life. And I'm so grateful that I did that. And healing work is like magic. And each time I do some healing on myself, and I feel so energized. And since I'm a coach, each time I find something, I would also get really excited to share it with other people and share it with my clients. So, yeah. And then the next thing is like nowadays I am cooking, and actually this year I started cooking. Like I do 3 meals, and so each time I cook something organic, I felt so good and nice. It's like you're putting your creativity and you create something. It's like a creation. And I found that each time I cook in my kitchen, I felt so good and it really energized me. And then even eating such food is quite healing for you. And so that is one more thing. And it also made me feel like I'm connecting with myself, because it's like giving myself quality time. I found that is also there. So it really made me feel, because one of my personality needs is also like quality time. So emotional connection. So that is also really fulfilled through cooking. And whenever I cook something very organic and I eat that, I felt so alive and energized. And next thing is like, as I shared previously, I do coaching. And whenever I work with a client and a client session, and I feel so energized, because that is my purpose in life. And to give, to add value in their lives and how they transform in their life, and to witness that is so, it's just next level of happiness that I receive. And I I find that makes me feel so alive and so energizing. And that's why I do what I do. And I'm so grateful that I could do what I love to do. And each time I do a client session, I feel so good. And it makes me feel so alive and energized. And next thing is also like I found as an activity, each time I give, like I felt so good and happy. It's like letting go, you know. So whenever I give a gift to someone, or like whenever I'm in the process of like wrapping a gift and thinking about how to give this, or surprise the person, or do some alms giving or something like that, I found I felt so alive within myself. That really made me feel energized. And actually, those are the list of all things, people, activities, and the places that really made me feel alive and energized in my life, which my energy level boosted and elevated. So you can sit down and see what are the things, what are the people, what are the activities, what are the places that really elevate your energy. Because if you give more of those into your life, you will have so much energy in you. So it's very important that rather than staying in being ignorant about these things, when you become aware about these things, it will make a huge difference in your life. It made a difference in my life. So that's why I thought of sharing this with you all in this channel. So the next one is like, let's look at, now we looked at what really elevate and energize us. And let's look at what really deplete our energy levels. And this also I thought of sharing with you all like a list from my life, because that will really uh, help you to find yours. And because I found that each time I share examples from my life or from a client life or from any other examples, people found that quite helpful because they understand what I'm really talking about. So, like, I found that my energy quite depleting when in place like in hospital. Whenever I go stay in a hospital, I found that like I felt depleted. This is due to because people come there who are sick, and for them, they need more and more energy for them to heal themselves. So this really like make like take away from like it's not like a takeaway actually that really mm, goes from people who have energy. It really those people who are sick wants to have more energy, so that really like affects people who are quite healthy and go to a hospital. So because there's like an energy transference happens, I feel. And so each time I was in a hospital, I found that it really depletes me. And the next thing is each time I eat some junk food, I felt quite low, and it's like let's say a radio. Uh, you can do with the knob, like you can make the volume high or low. So I feel like each time I eat some junk food, my energy levels go so low, and my mind becomes foggy, and it just depletes me. And then the next thing is, I found that when I'm surrounded with people who are constantly complaining and complaining and complaining, and I found that's quite draining to me. So not only for me, I found that even for other clients and people who are empaths, like whenever they are surrounded with people who are complaining and blaming and those things. Whenever I'm surrounded with such people who are constantly complaining, I found that's quite draining. When I figured that out, I was just stayed away from those people actually, which really helped me to protect the energy. So yeah. And then the next thing is I found that like watching news is quite draining, and actually it even in researchers has found that like before watching and after watching, it shows that people before watch news and after they watch news, it's like those people who are after watching the news is like 25% depressed than they were previously. So so these have so much effect because like through news, they what they're doing is they want to show like people what really happened, the most extreme scenarios that happen in a country. It's like 1 or 2% of really uh, extreme cases that happened in a country, and these are quite fear-based content. Actually, when they put this content out, actually they have a lot of views, and at the same time they can get more advertisement through that, and all these things really depletes people, and it depletes me. And I found news in general is quite depleting. So they are not showing this news like with the best interest of the audience. They are doing that so that they can sell their advertisements more, because like people if they show that what really good happened in the country, no one would watch the content. So they show very extreme cases in news, so it's quite depleting. And then also I found that like some people say that then how would you get to know what really happens? I found that somehow I get to know, because if anything big happens, or if anything important happens, I would always get to know from my family or from someone, So I've never missed out on any information. These are excuses that you do in these are very toxic content, to be honest. So I believe staying away from these content is the best thing that you could do to yourself. And I don't see any good by watching news. Yeah. And then the next thing is like social media. And that is also one thing I found that I've checked before and after going to social media. And there's a huge impact, huge difference, like before and after. Like after I went, like let's say I stayed 1 hour and I felt quite depleted. And people who are quite sensitive, they can immediately recognize what really happens to their energy bodies. And because I can, like, I remember that sometimes even if I look at a person's picture, I can literally feel what they are feeling, like that kind of sensitivity. So I really uh, like, I am not using social media at all. Like, only platform that I use is YouTube, and that's where I put out content. And rest, actually, I'm not really active. I have these like profiles, but yet I'm not active in any of these platforms, at least right now. So next thing is like horror movies. I remember like back then, like I used to watch horror movies and I felt very, very depleted. And so, yeah, that is one thing I like nowadays. I no longer watch a horror movie at all. And I don't find any meaning in watching such content, because if someone is aware what's truly happening in their mind, and they are observant about their mind, and these things really affect you, it just stays in you. Like, I really, even I shared one video saying that do not watch horror movies. So stay away from this content. This will not do any good to you. So each time I watch them, it depletes my energy. And then the next thing is like, I stayed away from dairy products. Dairy are products that are made from cow's milk. And I found that actually for Asians, like it says 90% of Asians are lactose intolerant. And for me, just some people are there, even though they have symptoms of allergy, they go on eating because they love cow's milk. But I found that I'm quite sensitive, and I felt I had so many symptoms of allergy, which is it bloated me and sometimes diarrhea and things like that. So, and I found that staying away from dairy made a huge difference in my health. Like, I believe like uh, I no longer have any mucus problems when after I stopped dairy products, and I found that I had like repetitively got all these mucus related diseases, that kind of problems. But once I stopped dairy products, all that went right away. So I stay away from dairy products. And so whatever the chocolates that I eat, or like, let's say, if I eat cereal or anything like that, I use milk which is dairy free, like coconut milk or almond milk or oats milk, any other milk that is not cow's milk. So yeah, that is one more thing, which, because I remember like whenever I went and ate pizza, which is cheese, I felt like so low and depleted because I was allergic to dairy. And so I had to completely let go of dairy products, which made a huge difference in my health and also skin. And that is the best decision I made in my life. Now, like even in Sri Lanka, we could find many dairy free products. Anyway, Sri Lanka is like a vegan country because we have coconut milk, and for every curry we put coconut milk. Even nowadays, I use coconut butter, and I use a lot of coconut milk. I'm a big fan of coconut. So yeah. And then the next thing is sugar is one more thing really depletes me. I felt like sometimes whenever I eat sugar, I feel like I'm on like drugs. Like it's like I I go so high. It doesn't make me feel good at all. Like it just like it says that sugar boosts energy and then depletes. For me, it just depletes right away, and I feel so low each time I eat sugar. My energy level drops right away. And then the next thing is eating greasy food. That is also something I found like quite uh, depletes my energy. So I stayed away from all these deep fried products or deep fried food. And then the next thing is like I also found so that like in my past, like nowadays, I no longer get to interact with a lot of narcissistic people. I found that each time I uh, spend time with narcissistic people, I feel like it depletes me so much. I feel like they're like energy vampires, That is something that I've noticed that each time I was surrounded because like nothing authentic. Like it's very rare they talk something very authentic and deep. It's very superficial, very fake. So I found that mm, this is one more thing I've listed in my list that each time I spent a significant amount of time that really made me feel quite depleted in my energy. So that's one thing. And I remember the next one is I remember uh, I don't know, 10 years back or like in 2016, that time around, I used to do a corporate job which made me feel so depleted. I remember when I go home, like I didn't have energy to even talk to my family. I felt so depleted because the jobs that I was doing, like I did only two jobs actually, and I didn't have any meaning doing those jobs. I felt quite meaningless. I didn't know why I was doing them. And it was so depleting. So, and that's the best decision I made to quit those jobs, and I never looked back. And because my life is going up after I quit my jobs, and yeah. And also, not only that job, but at the same time, the environment that comes with it. So grateful I made that decision. And the next thing which I found really energy depleting is whenever I take less than 8 hours of sleep, I found it's quite like low energy and doesn't make it just makes me feel like my energies are not optimal and I don't function optimal on days where I haven't had 8 hours, less than 8 hours of sleep. So I always prioritize sleep because sleep is very healing for you and I that is something you really need to take care. I really prioritize on my sleep and I put very clear boundaries on my sleep and I don't let anyone to uh, like disturb my sleep. I make sure that I get 8 hours of sleep. Especially people like I work with my intuition, so I really require that 8 hours of sleep. And the next one is I found that really, really hot weather also depletes my energy. And like that is like I found that's too hot also makes me quite depleting. So sometimes I find that here the temperatures become quite warm, and that also makes me quite depleted. And then the next thing is this is very tricky one, like friends who gossip about other people and like talking bad about them and gossiping. This is also something I found like quite draining, and I no longer like really engage in such conversations because that really depletes me. Because if I want to talk about like something nice about someone or like about, I mostly whenever I interact with my friends or my clients, we talk about like ourselves actually, not about anyone else. And so I find that whenever I hang out with people or friends who gossip about other people, that also something that really depletes and my energy. So yeah, those are my list. I believe this is quite helpful for you all to recognize what elevates and depletes yours. And also I'm sure there are many things which similar that I've shared for you and me. So you can take from my list whatever resonates with you and write down these two lists. Trust me that it will change your life, because becoming aware is the first thing that you can change anything in your life. Like I believe even in the healing work, first when you become aware about something, 75% is already healed. It's so powerful when you become aware. So what I would suggest is like just become aware about these things and increase the activities will really elevate your energy, and be surrounded with people who elevate your energy, and also the places. And sometimes I find even going to temples and places like that also makes my energy elevated because of the energies around. I forgot to share. And also, what depletes your energy, what I would suggest is reduce these activities. Like, try to stay away from these people as much as possible. Like, why? You know, especially someone who's going through the healing work and they are not quite there yet that they can handle it. I highly recommend to stay away from those people. That really takes away your energy. And if any place that makes you feel quite depleted, just you don't need to go to such places. So like there could be times that you can't avoid such stuff, but at that time you can always manage the situation. And this is not some rigid rules where you are not ever doing none. This is not something like that. Be flexible. This is about becoming aware. This is not about putting some rigid rules and make yourself quite like resistance to many things in life that doesn't work. Whatever you resist persists. So this is nothing to do about creating rigid rules. It's about becoming aware. Okay, these things really elevates me, but these things really deplete. So whatever activities really deplete, see whether you can uh, outsource these activities or see what you can do about it. And so, yeah, and write down this list and like see how that really helps you. And if you can, like, you can also put your list down there in the comments so that others can also see the list and get support from. So, yeah, thank you.